Massive day for Ratchet & Clank fans. Huge. Randomly, out of nowhere, out of the blue, out of the abyss, brand new Ratchet & Clank game dropped. Okay? Pretty exciting stuff. In 2025, can't say I was necessarily expecting a brand new Ratchet game. This is cool. I like waking up to news like this. Count me in. I'm interested. Of course, you then start watching the trailer. Something tells me I'm being fooled here. I'm very possibly getting jugged on. It's for mobile phones, isn't it? Ratchet & Clank Ranger Rumble, a brand new upcoming arena shooter for iOS and Android. You gotta love it when your favorite shit of all time gets subjected to abysmal ass. However, I don't want to be too cynical. Let's see what I did. Okay, let's just continue. But I don't want to be overly too negative about this situation because, number one, through the Insomniac Games leak that happened a few years back, it was basically revealed that the next Ratchet & Clank coming from them won't be happening until about 2029, probably 2030. So well into the life cycle of the PlayStation 6. Of course, Insomniac's primary focus nowadays is to develop Marvel games, whether it be Spider-Man or the upcoming Wolverine. We should consider ourselves lucky that Ratchet & Clank really is still going. It's one of those surviving OG PlayStation mascots. The fact that so many have been left behind or have been abandoned, but Ratchet is still very much alive and well, although games certainly don't come out as frequently as they once used to. I think it's just amazing that this franchise is still around and games are coming out once in a blue moon. So I wasn't really expecting this, and I really just count it to be a bonus reveal, as much as I would absolutely prefer a normal Ratchet & Clank game on PlayStation 5. I sort of look at this and I'm like, okay, well, you know, it's Ratchet. I can see all the familiar Ratchet stuff, although it is a team-based arena shooter, which, to be fair, that genre in itself, a multiplayer team-based arena shooter, would be really cool for Ratchet & Clank. It actually fits Ratchet & Clank's theme incredibly well. But you definitely do end up losing me when you mention just iOS and Android. Although that being said, yes, I am gonna try the game out when it drops, okay? However, I do look at this and I'm thinking, yeah, this is probably something that isn't going to be alive for that long. And what it also tells us is this is obviously PlayStation testing the waters for the mobile game space. While they've sort of experimented in the past with mobile gaming, this to me is them actually getting quite serious about it. Because not only did Ratchet & Clank get a mobile game announcement today, but also Horizon. Horizon Steel Frontiers is an MMORPG set in the Horizon universe. It is being developed by NCSoft under the supervision of Guerrilla Games. This right here is the long-rumored MMO Horizon game finally getting revealed, and it's releasing not just for mobile, which is absolutely insane given how good this game looks, but also PC as well. I would say all of the footage here is probably captured on the PC version. But of course, the two versions will coexist with one another. I absolutely do think that Steel Frontiers here has more room for success compared to what we're looking at here with Ratchet, but it is interesting. This is definitely PlayStation starting to dip their toes into the mobile gaming space with their well-known IPs, pretty much outsourcing other studios who are familiar with this kind of thing and trusting them with their IPs to create something brand new. It is interesting that they decided to go with Ratchet & Clank. I would have imagined as a sort of start-off they would have done Horizon, but then also maybe God of War. But no, it's Ratchet. Okay. Ranger Rumble here is being developed by French game studio
OBB,
which you guys might know OBB from classics like Frag Pro Shooter, Beast, Go-Go Magnet, Sup Multiplayer Racing, or what about Motor World Car Factory? Yeah, up until today, I didn't know these guys existed, but they are known for mobile games, and hence why they're taking on Ratchet & Clank. Okay, kind of adds up. Makes sense. I'll be honest, there are elements of this game that I kind of like. I do like the art style here. It is definitely more of a cartoonified take on Ratchet & Clank with like the almost sort of cel-shaded characters, I think is really cool. It's definitely a little bit more cutesy wootsy, especially if you're looking towards like all of the weapon designs. We've got a ton of familiar weapons. In fact, I actually went through the trailer frame by frame, trying to pick out all of the weapons that are currently in the game. And there's a decent amount here. Most of these weapons are all from Rift Apart, which does make sense, but there are actually a lot of weapons here from various other Ratchet games, like the Blitz gun from Ratchet & Clank 2. We've got the Ratchet & Clank 1, like the OG game on PS2 from 2002. The Rhino from that game, which is insane. There's the Glove of Doom. We've got the Pyro Blaster from Tools of Destruction. The Lava Gun. The Warmonger's in here. And then, of course, like all of the Rift weapons. So I'm pretty sure that is either just some take on the Bomb Glove or Shatter Bomb from Rift. The Headhunter Rifle, the Burst or Blast Pistol, Buzz Blades, Black Hole Storm, and Cold Snap. It looks like there's going to be some type of a leveling system for your guns as well. There is also a rarity system. That tells me that the weapon system is most likely going to be tied into some type of MTX microtransaction gacha type thing. You'll probably start off with like a few weapons, will be able to unlock some weapons, but other weapons will be a part of like the premium currency thing, mobile slot tactics. You know how it is. I'm guessing that you can customize your very own Ratchet & Clank character. It doesn't look like these are just preset characters, but I can't say for sure. There are various different types of like Lombaxes that we see throughout this trailer, which is a really cool thing because we've only seen very few Lombaxes throughout the Ratchet & Clank series so far. So to see all these different variations of Lombaxes, I think is actually really neat. Otherwise, you got a bunch of like different aliens and robots as well. I'm hoping this is a customization thing where there are different cosmetics that a game will likely end up costing like $45 for a different head or shoe piece. The locations and planets as well. Ratchet & Clank is kind of famous for this. There weren't too many that appeared throughout the trailer, but I did recognize some. We've got Sargasso, absolutely fantastic. Tauren 4, I believe this is either Metropolis or Corson 5, and a fan favorite, Ardolis from the Future series, which is great. I imagine that over time as this game receives updates, you know, if the heart of the game is still beating and people are actually playing it, the developers can kind of go wild with new locations given that Ratchet & Clank has such a large repertoire of different planets and locations. I mean, the game's been running for such a long time, so it's sort of like a lot of content here for the devs to use to add to the game to keep it going. And the same also goes for the arsenal and the weapons as well. There are a countless amount of different weapons throughout the Ratchet series now, so they could just keep adding all of these famous and familiar guns into the game via updates, which again, they will end up costing probably $80 in order to pull. It also looks like the familiar Ratchet & Clank mechanics are incorporated into this as well. They made an effort to make it very apparent that you can grind in this game, you can wall run in this game, and you can hover in this game with the hover pack. As far as how the game plays though, it looks like there's going to be a few different modes. Randomly, there is like a soccer come Rocket League type mode. Okay. But if we're looking at like the core experience here, it looks like teams of maybe 3 or 4 versing one another. They'll probably end up being like a deathmatch type thing. It also looks like there is a PvPvE mode as well. So there will be enemy creatures and characters and stuff within this map. There is also a bolt collection mode, so I assume the team that has collected the most amount of bolts will end up winning. You've also got special abilities, so you know, if you've played a hero shooter, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch or something like that, then same kind of thing. I assume this gauge will build up over time and then you can eventually unleash a special attack. For example, the Rhino is one of them. But because there are special abilities here, unless it's a case of you being able to choose which special ability, it does maybe make me think that there are just straight up unique characters and that you don't actually get to customize your character. This, again, is still unknown. Now, I hate to break it to you, but I am actually a hero shooter enjoyer. I do like me a good slice of Rivals and Overwatch. So Ranger Rumble here is sort of like a Ratchet & Clank attempt at that genre. And that is kind of cool, at least on paper. Look, I don't totally hate this. Again, there are elements that I actually do kind of like, but it does kill me that this game is not receiving a PC port, at least on day one. Hell, I could imagine that this could even do pretty well if it also had a console port on PlayStation 5 day one too. But is the Ratchet & Clank fanbase avid enough to actually show interest in a live service multiplayer Ratchet game like this? I'm really unsure, because what exactly is this game doing better or massively differently compared to other games like it that are also free to play? What's going to convince people to ditch what they're currently playing and play Ranger Rumble, you know? However, if it's more Ratchet content, sure, I'll take it. I'll try it out. I'll see what it's like. Probably won't stick around. Definitely wasn't expecting this. This was a really strange thing to wake up to. Pleasant? Not really too sure. Intriguing? Yeah, I guess so. However, guys, I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this in the comment section down below, so be sure to drop them. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Be sure to slippity slap that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. A big shout out to my wonderful patrons and YouTube members. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and we'll talk again real soon.